for ideology, you artistic pieces of shit. Ideology, yo, light your blunts and pack your bowls. Ideology, bro, burn that shit like acetone. Ideology, yo, introducing Salty Paul. Ideology, bro, you can lick it salty. You better open up the door, bitch, it's gorilla. Got your pussy asses screaming like no vanilla. If you're new up in this bitch, then you might be lost. You might just get the shit cannon like Kawaii Cost. Sorry. So give me the lighter, light the cigarette fire. This is the shit we admire. Get the business down to the wire. You must be tripping, this ain't easy work. We burning Bibles and Qurans like we TJ Kirk.
What it do, what it do?
Because Paul is on a mission, obliterating the tism of this generation of offended bitches and syllogisms, tripping acid, having mystical visions, and staying in the mid, growing older and older while you be shitting. Got your girlie getting wetter, why you still screaming, DP better? I don't really give a shit if you a fantasy. Get banned when you mention the manatee. And can it be a little bit of vanity? Got me questioning my sanity. Pessimistic philosophy, honestly, I want my ideology. Yo, light your blunts and pack your bowls. Ideology, bro, burn that shit like acetone. Ideology, yo, introducing Salty Paul. Ideology, bro, you can lick it salty balls.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good morning. Is it morning still? It feels like it should be afternoon, but that's because my sleep schedule has inverted. I now go to bed, what's relatively early for me, around midnight, and I get up at around, well, this morning I was awake at 6 a.m. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I don't know what's happening. But there it is. There it is. So this feels like afternoon to me, but it's really still just the morning. It's not even 11 a.m. Holy shit. Morning crew, morning crew.
What it do, what it do?
How's it going? It's earlier than you. I know. It's earlier than I've normally gotten up at any point in my life, except for when I worked at Starbucks. Like Starbucks, 6 a.m. would have been sleeping in for me. I used to get up at like 3:30 a.m. to get ready for work to open at Starbucks. But here we are. Despite that fact, here we be. Woke up to pee, went to bed at 5 a.m. See, that sounds like more what I'm used to. That's closer to to my sleep schedule as I've come to know it. But you know, I made some changes. I've started eating breakfast. I eat breakfast every morning. I have not missed a morning in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks now. Typical breakfast is like a couple of scrambled eggs. I make a couple of scrambled eggs and a piece of toast. That's it. Maybe a glass of orange juice with breakfast. It doesn't sound like a whole lot of food, but I'm telling you, man, like my normal eating schedule prior to, you know, trying to change things up and trying to lose a little bit of weight was to wait basically all day till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5. And I would just absolutely fucking destroy something at that point. And then by dinner time, I was still hungry, you know, from going all day, and I'd eat another big meal. Sometimes I would just wait till dinner. I mean, there was a long time where I did nothing but eat dinner, you know, and by dinner time, I'm ready to wolf down the entire fucking world of food. And then when you do that, when you overeat, it makes you tired. So I'd eat dinner and then get super tired and pass out for a couple hours, you know, just a food coma. It's just not, you know, it was not good. I don't always make bacon. When was it? 3 or 4 mornings ago, I made a English muffin egg sandwich with bacon. A little strip of bacon on it. Why do people like eggs? Because they're fucking good. Like, people that don't like eggs typically don't know how to cook eggs. Like, I'm a master at scrambled eggs. My scrambled eggs are fucking delicious. I use the same method that you'll find fucking, what's his name? Why am I brain farting on his? Gordon Ramsay. If you go, in fact, I'll show you it. Fuck it, let's just watch it. Gordon Ramsay scrambled eggs. He'll show you how it's done. Like Gordon Ramsay, he'll show you how it's done, dude. Gordon Ramsay's scrambled eggs right here. Live on Ideology.
Breakfast. Never get a chance to eat it Monday to Friday, but Saturday, Sunday, however, is the time when everyone should have a proper breakfast. My perfect breakfast, scrambled egg, sautéed mushrooms and tomatoes. The most important thing about any scrambled egg is stopping it from overcooking. To serve with a scrambled egg, flat cap mushrooms, just keep them whole. and put them in the pan. Lots of olive oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, vine tomatoes. Best way of roasting these is actually keeping them on the vine in the pan with the mushrooms. Right.
Right, so he's
Just
doing a lot of
those
extra shit, but let's get to the eggs. Just watch what he does with the eggs. Here you go. So he's putting in like some butter and hold up. Where does he do the eggs? When are you gonna do the eggs, Gordon? That's what I'm here for.
I just do this 3 or 4 times. Back onto the heat. Now, if I had to season this now, it'd still turn it into something quite watery. And I want a really nice sort of creamy scrambled egg.
Yes.
Something quite fluffy. Shh, is that my toast burning?
Oh, yeah.
Off the heat. Oh,
It's fucking raw.
damn, I'm going to set the fire alarms off. Put that back in. Off the heat.
So anyway, he's not going to get to the fucking point. So let me just tell you what the point is. Okay, first, you season your eggs late because, like he said, if you season them too early, you get that watery egg. Now, I'm guilty of this sometimes. Sometimes I season a little too early. You want to season after the eggs start to fluff up so that you don't create that juicy, watery thing. And then you want to do like a medium heat, and you just got to keep stirring the egg. Like a lot of people just put scrambled eggs in a pan and then they don't flip them right away. They just let them get hard, and then you end up with a dry egg. You end up with dry eggs. You don't want that. You don't want the dry scramble. You got to keep them moving. Like the more you fuss over your eggs, the better. Would I get a tattoo? I have a tattoo. Look. There you go. Oh, you guys can't see that very well, but there you go. Yeah. I have a tattoo, and yes, I want more tattoos. I've got one that I really, really want, but I've just got to find an artist that I think can do it. Yeah, dude. Dry scrambled eggs, or watery scrambled eggs that aren't fluffy and creamy. That's the worst. It's the worst kind of shit, man. So what's up? What's going on today? What's the deal? You guys are supposed to be entertaining me, and you're not doing a very good job. No eggs are chicken periods. Different. What? Chicken periods? Oh, happy birthday there, Coolman. The big 2-2 today. The big 22. Oh my God, dude, you must be tired if you're talking like a Redditor. Dude, lay. As of the worst Reddit meme ever was when they were putting lay before everything. Do you gravitate more to ugly actors? I gravitate to good actors, whether they're ugly or not. How's that? It's not from Reddit? Reddit just ran it into the ground? Le Gym. I found a Le Gym on Reddit. I vape like a Le Sir. Speaking of Reddit, I heard that some university made a cure for cancer, but my doubts are high. Really? Let me look into this shit. Cure for cancer. I mean, that would definitely be the top of the news day. Cure for cancer. Let's look at that. Let's hit up the news. Elephants and whales could give us the cure for cancer. That was 5 days ago. Stop drinking this miracle cure for cancer and autism. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Let's see why elephants and whales could cure cancer for us. Let's take a look. Elephants and whales could give us a cure for cancer unless we keep killing them. Yeah. Around noon one day in 2011, a familiar dorsal fin rose from the sea off the coast of Massachusetts, flecked with tiny white scars. It belonged to Salt, a female humpback whale whose scientists have been studying since the 1970s, who was named for those distinctive markings. Blah, 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 blah. The bolt went flying. It hit the target. So they took a sample, preserved it in liquid nitrogen, and sent it away. Now, 8 years later, a team supported by the Arizona Cancer Evolution Center at Arizona State University has discovered that salt and other cetaceans The group of mammals that include whales, dolphins, and porpoises evolved clever ways of dealing with cancer, including an array of tumor-suppressing genes. Neat. The findings, along with similar work on elephants, suggest that somewhere, hiding in the genetic code and evolutionary history of large mammals, there could be a new cancer treatment for humans. But if the researchers are correct, their window to study these megafauna may be closing as humans continue to threaten them. All right. So, who knows? Who knows, dude? Elephants might cure cancer. You can't get excited about this type of shit anymore because, you know, I mean, I've heard a billion of these. There was like a seaweed back, 10 years ago or something that was supposed to cure cancer. They're always finding something. They're always finding some animal that can cure cancer and thinking that, oh, well, if they can do it, we can do it. Paul, I think there's a Reddit you might actually like. It's called R Saved You a Click. People go through clickbait articles and put the answer in the title. Oh, well, that's cool. It wasn't that news. It was something else. Oh, okay. Well, I couldn't find it then. Couldn't find it. Yeah, whales wrapped in seaweed. That's the answer. Dude, quit shooting at the whale. Or are you trying to kill our only chance to not have cancer? They found a jellyfish that lives forever. Now that means we will live forever. Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. Otello put a link up. Let me see. Let me see if I can see any of this. Futurology. Okay. Students at Findlay College of Pharmacy have developed a chemical compound that kills glioblastoma, brain cancer cells. Undergraduates at the College of Pharmacy got a chance to work on a project trying to identify potential agents used to treat glioblastoma, brain cancer, very tough cancer. The video describes how the student worked on a project that found some trial compounds seemed to be better at killing cancer cells in a test environment, in vitro, or literally in glass as in a test tube or plate. And they will now try and see if it will hold up to animal tissue studies. In other words, it is a long way from developing a chemical compound that could be used clinically in any practical way. So, kind of a clickbait. Kind of a clickbait article, honestly. I mean, like finding a chemical compound that kills cancer cells. There's a number of chemical compounds that I assume kill cancer cells. Hydrochloric acid probably kills them pretty effectively, but you can't exactly inject that into people. No, we're not built like them. We need to do some freaky experimenting that most people wouldn't volunteer for unless they just kidnap and test homeless people. What are you talking about, bro? Talking about whales? Jellyfishes? We just need to give up on the idea that we'll cure cancer. We've got much bigger fish to fry. I mean, it's a fish. We got a lot of fish to fry, and there's plenty of opportunity for us to fry multiple fish at once. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, or at least I think we should be able to. Maybe we can't. Maybe I'm overestimating the human animal at this point, but I feel like that as a species, we're pretty capable of walking and chewing gum. Fight cancer with cancer. Oh, yeah. Why don't they come up with like anti-cancer? Like a tumor that they implant in you, but it creates good cancer that kills all the other tumors. That'd be pretty dope. I'd be into that. I'll keep eating fatty foods and drink beer. That will cure my cancer. It cures my sadness. Oh, dude, we were talking about scrambled eggs, and look, I pulled a story about scrambled eggs. Plant-based eggs are starting to compete with the real thing. Look at this. The change was swift. In only the last few years, plant-based foods have suddenly snapped up market share in both the dairy and meat markets with alternative versions of milks, yogurts, and convincing faux beef patties. They're popular insurgents, this band of peas, coconuts, cashews, bananas, almonds, oats, and soy. As grocery store upstarts move into new aisles, they're igniting plant-based coups that have reshaped supermarket economics. Now the humble mung bean has set up camp in the egg section, and it's starting to make some noise. When people buy eggs at the grocery store, they typically choose the kind that come in shells. Liquid eggs, the kind that come in cartons, yolked or yolkless, are very much a smaller category. But in that smaller pool of competitors, plant-based liquid egg alternative created by one Silicon Valley-based company just is performing pretty well. Well, this isn't soy. This is mung beans, okay? Mung beans. Get it right. Get it correct. It's a mung bean, okay? I really don't like nut milk or plant milk. Nut milk. She said nut milk. Would you start eating vegan food? I've tried vegan food, and some of it's good and some of it sucks. I don't have any plans on going vegan. Oat milk. I'm kind of with Ashley on this one. I've never really had a milk product that wasn't milk that I thought was all that great. I mean, I can do soy milk, but I'd rather just have good old-fashioned cow titty milk, you know? Straight from the udder. Just let me lay on my back under a cow and nurse that nip. Mung is a slur for a girl's squirts in the UK. Oh, squidge is called mung in the UK? Cool. Squidge is not a popular word here. It's a word that I invented in high school with my friends to describe the snail trail, the female lubricant that happens. You get my drift? Yeah, I never heard mung. We called it squidge. There was even a chick at school that we called Squidget. She hated it. She hated it. The number 2 liquid egg, number 2 selling liquid egg isn't even a real egg. It's just egg. Milk, dairy from a cow is actually pretty bad for you. I think we need human milk, but being humans, that's awkward, although the internet, so yeah. I mean, can't we just synthesize, like, human titty milk now? Isn't that a possibility? I'm sure it is. I'm sure that we could create human titty milk in the lab. If we can grow meat in the lab, we can make human titty milk in the lab, so. Can I turn up my volume a tad bit? I mean, you're the only one complaining about it. Everybody else seems to hear me just fine, so I'm not going to blow out everybody's ears so that you can hear better. Why don't you turn up your volume a little bit on your end? That seems like a better solution. Yeah, I'm all for lab-grown meat, too. I'll eat lab-grown. I'll eat, you know, fake meat. I don't give a fuck. As long as it tastes good, I'm good with it. Human milk is salty, though. Well, maybe they can desalinate it. I don't know. Why was there not a pill invented to fill someone up for an entire day with required nutrients to sustain one person? I think there are supplements like that that they put in, like MREs and emergency landing packs for military people so that they can get nutrients without having to cook. So yeah, they do have pill form food. I don't know that it fills your stomach and makes you, satiates you hunger-wise, but they do have, you know, supplements that you can take that give you your daily value of this, that, and the other thing. Diet is the one thing everyone feels like an expert in. Oh, don't dude, you are fucking dead on balls. Let me tell you what, man. Let me tell you what. A fat dude, a fat person, right, tells people that they're trying to lose weight, and for some reason, people take that as an invitation to pick apart the fat person's dietary and exercise choices and tell them how they're, like, look, I've had various stages of attempting to lose weight, and I've been varying stages of public with those decisions, right? And one of the times that I was most public with my decision was when we were all back in Washington, still on DP, and I was working out, you know, 3 times a week, and eating really well, and I lost quite a bit of weight. And I'm telling you, dude, as I got better and as I started to feel better, the frequency of people giving me bad advice and telling me that the shit that I was doing was actually destructive and harming my body increased. It was like the closer I got to getting to my goal weight, the louder the voices in the community were to tell me that I was doing everything wrong, even though I was feeling better, losing weight, eating better, exercising. It's just like it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So it's why, you know, when I am on a little weight loss quest now, all you guys hear is, hey, I'm eating a little better. I'm trying to lose a little weight. I'm doing good. People just want, yeah, it's a hero complex. You're right. People just want to be, they want to swoop in and be Captain Save-A-Ho. That's really like everybody's dream on the internet is to be Captain Save-A-Ho. They want to find a long-ass thread on Twitter or something with a bunch of bad advice, and they're the only ones that know the good advice, and they want to bust up in there like a fucking dietary professor or some shit and start going through every calorie you consume. Oh, everybody's a fucking doctor online. Everybody. And everyone's concerned, too. I love that. Like, these people don't have lives filled with shit that they've got to take care of themselves. People are so concerned about other people online. In public, couldn't give a fuck less. You walk by a fat dude in public, what are your chances you're going to go, hey, dude, you know what you really ought to do is eat celery instead of your middle meal. You know, if you take away your lunch and replace it with 2 stalks of celery, you're going to lose weight. When does that ever happen in public? I'm sure it does, but it's got to be rare as a fucking blood diamond, right? It's got to be precious and rare. Every once in a blue moon, somebody is, you know, lacks social awareness enough to walk up to a fat person in public. Now, you move that fat person online, oh, Jesus Christ. There's a line around the block. Dietary experts, exercise experts, weight loss experts, not a single one of them with a degree or a certificate of any kind. Jesus Christ, man. Any diet will work as long as you're in a caloric deficit. I mean, that's the truth. That's really the truth. That's really the only advice you need to hear, and it's not really advice. It's just common fucking sense. Your body requires X amount of calories at your activity level to maintain weight. If you're underneath that, then you're gonna drop weight. There you go. That's all of the dietary advice you need summed up in one little fucking easy to understand sentence. People being concerned about mental health is common online also. Oh, yeah. That's another thing that, you know, I've shared my own struggles with my own mental health problems. I've given you guys some of my diagnoses. You open yourself up to that, and everybody's all of a sudden wanting you to sit on their couch. And if you make a video or you express a concern in a video, oh, they know exactly why. It's because of those diagnoses that you shared with them. Oh, Paul's just salty in this video because he's depressed. It's Paul's depression that's making him say these things. He doesn't have an adult brain that's capable of deciding whether or not to make a video about a topic. His brain was hijacked by his depression. And it's that depression that made him express this opinion, not his actual genuinely held opinion. Now, if I were a person that had never shared that I had any mental issues, didn't wear my mental issues on my sleeve, there wouldn't be, you know, I wouldn't have to put up with that shit. There wouldn't be people out there. Well, I guess that's not true. Even if I hadn't shared my mental issues, there would be people out there diagnosing me and trying to tell me how to better my mental health. The internet in my house no longer works, and I'm currently living at Arby's. Neat. Sounds great. People would speculate. Of course they would. Of course they would. Yeah. That's just one of the reasons why the internet fucking sucks, man. And I hate to say it because I know you're all denizens of that place, but man, look around. The internet fucking sucks, man. There's no real people on the internet anymore. Just fake experts and concern trolls and people with fucking overblown senses of their own importance and the importance of their own opinions. That's it. That's all you find. Not a real human interaction to be had on the internet. It's all about the memes. How many likes can I get? How many LOL responses can I get? That's how you judge your fucking social acuity now. Terrible. A lot of motivational videos too. Oh, don't you guys love those? Hey guys, this is a different kind of video today, and I hope that you'll bear with me because I think there's an important message to be had here. In 2012, I lost my best friend to cancer. And I really, really went to a dark place. Here's a picture of me from that time. And you see how fat I was? You see these dark circles under my eyes? Let me tell you that fake smile that you see plastered on my face in this picture was hiding a deep ocean of pain. How many of those videos have you seen? I mean, God, is there any more cynical thing to do than make these fucking, like, look at my life and how hard it was, and you can do it too. Ugh. Like, and once again, who would do that in public? Who would walk down in public and see somebody kind of limping along on a cane, obviously injured in a recent accident, and go, hey, dude, I just wanted to let you know that in 1986, I was in a terrible car accident and fucked my leg up too, and look at me now. I can dance. Teedly-tee, teedly-tee. If I can do it, you can do it too. See, people know that, like, honestly, the reason that doesn't happen in public is because people know that nobody wants to hear it. They know that nobody wants to hear it. There's just nobody that can look them in the eye and tell them, shut the fuck up on the internet. That's all it takes. The vague insinuation of somebody actually socially engaging them in a negative way to tell them to shut the fuck up keeps 99% of these people's mouths shut when they're walking around in public. But you get them on the internet where they can just have a little anime avatar and name themselves after some fucking character in their favorite anime, their mouths run constantly. Because they don't have to make eye contact with the person that's offended by them or annoyed by them. I had my face ripped off by a bear, but now I'm a supermodel. Yep. When you compare it to actual human behavior, the contrast is stunning. Insults are the most different. Would people ever say these things to people's faces? 99% of the mean shit said online, the people saying that shit would never utter those words to somebody's face in public. That should tell you everything that you need to know about the worthlessness of the internet. It's literally just a venue for the ego to go crazy. Just people can take their fucking egos to a space where there's really nothing that anybody can do. There's no social backlash for acting like an asshole. And you can see how absolutely in love with that idea so much of the internet is. I mean, there are people out there, they couch themselves in this, like, false moral rectitude, and they talk like college professors about how awful a person is, or how stupid a person is, or how fat and ugly a person is. You take that person out of their computer chair and put them on the street, they probably wouldn't even look somebody in the eye as they walked past them. Welcome to the fucking internet, man. Sickly sweet videos where they pretend their life is all hunky-dory. Oh yeah, there's tons of that. Hey guys, what's going on? Maximilian Money here. Oh fuck, man, I'm having a good day today and I'm gonna take you with me. We're doing a park vlog. Oh my god, look at this tree. It's like, oh shit. As soon as that video goes off, you know that person's head is just in their hands, like, oh, what is my life? What am I even doing? What am I doing in this park? Why did I film this? Oh god, this video is gonna suck. Oh god, I'll put it up anyway. I need the ad revenue. What have I become? My sweetest friend. I hate when people try and jump on other people's breakdown videos for views. I hate when people make breakdown videos. Fuck that. Like, I don't even think about the people that try and jump on and piggyback off of them. Who's having a fucking emotional breakdown in a video? When is that okay? Why is that okay? Is there no such thing as privacy anymore? Is there no such thing as private friends that you can talk to in confidence about your fucking problems? You got to put your whole goddamn mental breakdown out there on the internet for fake-ass back pats from fake-ass doctors? Fuck that. No thank you. Coming out videos. Oh, yeah, those are great. Gotta love a coming out video. When someone would actually film themselves. When would someone actually film themselves having an emotional breakdown? Yeah, I know. And you gotta call into question the veracity of that emotional breakdown too, because who does that? Who's actually having an emotional breakdown and they're like, wait, let me get my cell phone going. We go record. You know, it's like, when did that happen? At what point during your emotional breakdown did you sit down and turn on your lights and set up your webcam and start recording? If you had the presence of mind to do that, you're not having a real breakdown. You're having a deep-seated desire for emotional support from people who don't fucking know you or care about you. That's exactly what's going on. Oh yeah, the selfies with a tear. I love those. Feeling awful today. Subtweeting with a picture of yourself with puffy red eyes like you've been crying. Having a bad day today. Just sucks, man. Why don't people talk to you like you're real people on the internet, you know? That's what I try and do here. You know, that's kind of what I try and do, at least on Ideology. I'm engaging with you internet folk. And I try and talk realness to you. I try and give you the same kind of shit that I'd give you if we bumped into each other on the street and you started one of these conversations with me, you know? Because, like, honestly, who wants that? Who wants that unsolicited advice? Manson, can you tell us?
Nobody.
That's right, nobody. Who actually listens to that unsolicited advice?
Nobody.
That's right, nobody. Who actually knows enough to give advice on a Twitter thread on the internet when it comes to medical problems?
I'd buy that for $1.
Wrong button, but it worked. Yep. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine. And a straight razor. If you get too close. Everyone wants to be the internet Gandhi. Either the internet Gandhi or like the internet Dr. Phil. I do see a lot of people trying to just virtue signal themselves into Gandhihood, but I see way more Dr. Phils rolling around. I got my life together, and let me tell you how to run yours. It's like, who the fuck are you? I wish there was a way to just click on a person's profile and see a snapshot of them as they typed the comment. Can you imagine the hideous freaks that you'd see? This Paul's new girlfriend is ugly. Let me see a snapshot. It's just some fucking hideous pimply freak. Ugly. That would fix the internet. So people that don't like my 2-account solution, how about a solution that you can't make a post on the internet without taking a selfie first, allowing your webcam to take a candid selfie as you're typing? That would fix the internet overnight. If you could, like, go to one of these people who are like, Paul's stupid fat ass will never lose weight. We all know that he has no fucking self-control. LOL, LMAO, rolling, crying, smiley face. Let me see a snapshot of this dude. Big as the Goodyear blimp. Sweaty, patchy beard. Big zit on his nose like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yep, selfie captcha. There's another idea right off the top of the dome to literally fix the internet. Just let me get a look at the people that are making these fucking comments. Let me take a peek into your world. I'm actually very good looking, so it would only strengthen my arguments. I mean, if you're good looking, why don't you change your fucking profile pic to your face so that everybody can see? Let me click on you. Let me see if you make any videos. Shockingly, for a good-looking dude, I'm willing to bet that you make none. I'm willing to bet that you make no videos whatsoever. Where did he go? I can't see him. Maybe, oh, there he is. Yeah, let's go to channel. Let's take a look at Null Videos channel, shall we? Here we go. Null Videos. Oh, there's a shocker. A good-looking dude with 2 subscribers, 0 videos, a super fucking ridiculously abstract red line on a black background for his fucking profile picture, talking about how blindingly attractive he is. The internet in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a chud, but it's all good. I mean, so am I. But I'm not, you don't see me going around like, your girlfriend is stupid, your girlfriend ugly, you're fat, you're dumb. You know what I mean? At least my face is appended to all of that shit. He's too hot to make content, yeah. People on the internet lie, I know, shocker. Shocker of the fucking century, right? Did you know that dolphins can recognize themselves in the mirror? Oh, that's great. Thanks for that random little factoid, my friend. I'm remarkably good looking. Yes, popsicle dude. I can tell. Did you go out of your way to get another girlfriend? No. I just met somebody and we hit it off and now we're dating. How you like that? Isn't that shocking? Shocking how that happens. The green light is a symbol for wanting the past to recur, though, right? No. Well, I used it because I heard that R&B song, "Gimme That Green Light." It's all about consent, too. It's a modern R&B song, even though it was made a while ago. We can do it all night, but only if it feels right. See? Consent. Give me the green light. Give me the consent. She seems nice. Is she okay with being on screen? I assume if she wasn't, she wouldn't sit next to me sometimes. Do you think all homeopathic medicine is a scam? All homeopathic medicine. I think that if it's not, doesn't have a scientific study and the backing of the medical community, then yes, it's a scam. You thought it was the Lord song? Oh yeah, I don't fuck with that. I don't fuck with Lord. Do people really say your GF is ugly? Yes. I mean, that's going to happen no matter what. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's the whole point of this conversation here that we've been having about the internet and how people hide behind it and how it's useless as a tool of communication and social interaction, because people, instead of being themselves on the internet, play this superhero that knows everything and that judges everything and doesn't have to deal with any of the social repercussions of being that kind of an asshole because, they're fucking, the only thing that you have to go on is a black dot with a red stripe through it and no content. Yeah. People say it because they know it will annoy you. Well, that's what I'm talking about. See, people go out of their way not to annoy people in public because they don't want to deal with the social repercussions. They don't want to deal with somebody that's going to look them right in the eye and say, hey, you're being a cunt. You want to stop? They don't want to have to deal with that. So they come to the internet to do that. They come to the internet to feel like they have some sort of social control, I guess, some sort of ability to affect another person's life without having to deal with the repercussions. That's exactly what we're talking about. Trolling doesn't really exist in real life. Oh, absolutely it does. I troll people that I know in real life all the time. You guys see me do it on the show. You think that stops when the show goes off? I troll TJ constantly. He trolls me constantly. TJ is trying to constantly pass off things that never happened to me because he knows I'm gullible. He convinced me that ghosts were real for like half a year. You see what I'm saying? That's trolling. So trolling definitely exists in real life, but it's typically in real life something that you do with real life friends to get a real life reaction out of them that is real life funny. People try and fill in that blank with the internet, but they know they can't just walk up to a random stranger and go, your buck teeth look goofy, because they might get slapped in their fucking mouth, so they come to the internet to do it. They yet have not invented the monitor that's also a portal to the person that you're talking to so that they can get bitch slapped in the face. Once they invent that, once again, the internet is fixed. There's another idea. There's 3 full-fledged ideas to fix the internet. My 2-account system, the selfie captcha for any comment that's posted anywhere, and, whatever that third idea I just came up with was. Oh yeah, the teleporting fucking screen that you can reach into and bitch slap the person you're talking to if you want to. Yeah. Question for Paul. Do you believe younger people are so hooked with the internet that they're starting to lose the concept of a life without it? I think some people are, and I don't think it's necessarily younger people that are having that problem exclusively. I think that there are a lot of people out there that have profound social disability that fill in that gap of social interaction, which humans need, by the way. Some people are loners, some people are okay being alone, but as a species, we're social. We need that interaction. We need that positive or negative feedback. We need to know we matter to other people. It's very important to us as a social animal. But there are a lot of people in the world that have, like I said, social dysfunction that makes it hard for them to do that. I think that the internet feeds that social dysfunction by allowing them to skirt around the need to learn how to look somebody in the eye, shake their fucking hand, have a conversation with them in the real world. And so they just disappear into their online persona. They are no longer the fat, greasy loner that's just sitting there. They are now a Pikachu avatar, you know, with a funny name that they hope makes people laugh, and they get to say whatever they want to people. That's profoundly destructive to people who cannot socially interact. And so, yes, I don't think that everybody is having that problem, but I do think that there are a lot of young people, middle-aged people, and older people whose lives have been transferred to an online space where nothing is real, and there are no real consequences to social dysfunction. Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with this idea that Facebook is only for boomers now. There's still a profound amount of young people using Facebook, early 20s, 30s, you know what I mean? It's not just Boomerville. It might be vastly more populated with people on the older end of the spectrum, but there's still plenty of fucking pimply 16-year-olds running around Facebook. I don't see it as a problem. I see it as a transitionary period. How we handle internet and social media is what matters. Don't really understand your contention. I've noticed some people ask me facts about stuff and are almost always shocked that I might just go to the bar or watch some DVDs or turn my phone off on the train. Yeah. I leave my phone here sometimes when I go out. Like, I got errands to run and shit. I don't even take it. I just leave it here on the counter. Sometimes it sits on the same spot on my counter all day and I don't look at it. Check it at the end. Oh, I missed a call. I got a text. Let me answer that. Yeah. I still use Facebook for Messenger for talking to my flesh and blood friends. Okay. Well, that's really all I have on Facebook, too. I might have added a couple of people that I've never met, but the vast majority of people on my personal Facebook are people that I've met in real life that I know in real life. I think internet sucks because people are too self-centered to do the tennis game of communication. It's a hard game, though. There's a lot that goes into communication, you know, verbal and physical communication that people don't really. I think people like me, and I'm not trying to brag here, but people like me that are socially adept, that can have those types of social interactions in person and don't really have a problem with them, tend to believe that what we do is easy. It's not. There's a lot of little inscrutable things that go into how people communicate. The look in your eyes matters. The expression on your face, your body language matters. I mean, something as simple as talking to somebody with your arms folded across your chest like this can communicate a world of information about your mental state and how you perceive that person. So controlling those little things and modulating, nodding. That's another thing. When people are talking to you and you're listening to someone, just nodding and giving an affirmative, oh yeah, every once in a while. That is it like greases the wheels of conversation, but that's one tiny little aspect of having an actual conversation with somebody. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. It's incredibly complex. Human conversation, what is it, like 70% nonverbal. So what you say out of your mouth is only 30% of a conversation. Pretty amazing. And obviously way more complex than a lot of people give it credit for. Tone of voice and body language is arguably more important than the words. I mean, I don't know if I'd say more important, but they're at the very least equally as important. Guess I'm screwed then, can't make eye contact at all. Well, here's a trick for you, and it's one that I use sometimes too, because eye contact can be uncomfortable no matter who you are, no matter what your kind of hang-ups might be. You can look at a person's mouth, and it's almost indistinguishable from looking them directly in the eye. It takes a very, very perceptive person to see the difference between a stare directly into your eyes and looking at somebody's mouth. I do that a lot. If there's somebody who I don't feel socially close to enough to share a look directly in the eye, I look right in their mouth. Or nose. I just watch their nonverbal cues. I'm good at telling what kind of moods. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a very perceptive person. I can walk into a room of people and look at each of them as they think they're not being observed and kind of make extrapolations about each one of their, at least moods and whether and how available they are for social interaction. I mean, that's immediate. Hey, Goobert Dubert. Do you ever get tired of being constantly fucking flabbergasted and confused by absolutely easy to understand principles? Do you just walk through your whole life going, huh? What? Lord, what? Duh. God, you're a fucking dumbass. Nah, because it's never happened. LOL? LeMayo what? You're a fucking caveman, bro. Why don't you just grunt? Huh? Say what? Lol, what? Well, fucking idiot. Overheard you talking about social cues. I have Asperger's, so that can be difficult for me. Yeah, I was talking about social cues as a way to illustrate just how complex they are and how easy it could be to have problems understanding those. For sure. Hey, Paul, do you ever say okie dokie unironically? Yes, I do. Do you have any examples of when you really didn't read someone's body language right? Not really. Like I said, I'm pretty adept at it. I'm not the type of guy that's looking to engage every person I walk by in conversation either. But if I'm going to settle down and have a conversation with somebody face to face, I'm going to do so after taking the temperature of their mental state via watching their their body language, their facial expressions. I got called Asperger's for just hating people and not wanting to talk to anyone. Well, maybe you do have Asperger's. Maybe you're the one making an excuse. Maybe the way that you deal with your social problems is to say, oh, I hate people and I don't like to talk to them. But that's possibly just masking an inability to talk to them. How about that? Do you ever think about that? You think your diagnosis might be right? I hate social interaction, yet can come across as being the funniest and most social guy due to the facade I put on. Well, everybody puts on a facade. See, that's the thing. Social interaction is all about putting on a face. The more comfortable you are with a person, the less of a mask that you need to wear. But there are different levels of masks that everybody wears throughout the day to get through their day and to get through those social interactions, so you're not weird. What is responsible for the huge increase in autism spectrum disorders? Likely the cause is just better understanding of those disorders and more accurate diagnosis of people that have those disorders. I mean, that's the Occam's razor answer. There are certain elements of the psychiatric and scientific community that believe that screen time might have something to do with it. That's something that we've talked about here. But ultimately, the reason why there are more people diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder now than there were 20 years ago is because doctors and psychiatrists have gotten better at recognizing the symptoms of those disorders and thus gotten more accurate at diagnosing them. Sully says overdiagnosis, the criteria is widening. Well, the criteria tends to widen as understanding of a disorder grows. Early on in the discovery of a certain type of disorder, the definitions are typically very narrow because the diagnosis is based on a case study of 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 people that have the disorder. In a world where I don't know what the percentage of people that are autistic is, 1-2% of the population is autistic, and on the back end of many studies on autism spectrum disorder, the criteria is naturally going to widen. You're going to understand other symptoms of that disorder. My brother has extremely severe autism, like nonverbal, needs 24/7 care as a 25-year-old. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, extremes and less extreme diagnoses along that spectrum. Autists were probably mistaken for being demonically possessed or something before we had a grasp on it. I mean, when I was a kid, they were just nerds or dorks. Like the dorky kid that can't look you in the eye and stutters a lot and has trouble talking and has trouble picking up on verbal cues. They were just nerds. Oh, that guy's a dork. He doesn't know how to chill, doesn't know how to make people laugh. A lot of those people that I grew up with and had that designation were likely on the spectrum somewhere. It just wasn't understood when I was a kid, not to the degree it is now. And nerds or slow or some combination of the two. Those two things were not necessarily mutually exclusive when I was a kid, and neither are they now. Do you regret the way they were treated in hindsight? I mean, I was never one of the people that was overtly super fucking mean to dorky kids because I myself was a little bit dorky. I was not riding high on the social ladder for most of my childhood, so a lot of my friends had that kind of dorky, awkward nature about them, so no, I don't really carry around a whole lot of generalized regret. Now, there were people that might or might not have been on the spectrum. It's not my place to diagnose them, but there were people that were clearly fragile folk, people that were not as socially adept as I was that I made fun of, and those individual instances I feel a sense of regret about. But overall, I was not a mean person growing up. Did you ever feel lonely growing up? Never. That's honestly the truth. Growing up, for me, I was surrounded by people, surrounded by sisters, parents. I had a giant pool of friends. I actually had 2 separate social groups that I, moved around in high school. I had dozens of friends, dozens of people that I would have called close friends, at least 2 dozen. Probably more. Now, later in my life, that has evened out, and I have a much smaller roster of real friends. But I'm still very kind of resistant to loneliness. I still feel it. I have felt it as an adult, but loneliness is not something that haunts me every day. Yeah, I bullied a kid named Patrick. I told a story about it on this channel before, way back when. But there was a kid named Patrick who was dorky and fat, and this was 7th and 8th grade. And me and my friend Rodney would ride home with him on the bus. He got off at our stop and went a different way than we did to walk home from the bus stop. And we would pick on that kid, for sure. So kids are pretty cruel, even the good ones. I feel like people like having diagnoses so they can have more labels in their Twitter bios. Some people do, for sure. I tried to exclude myself from the dorks through high school and suck up to the popular kids. I didn't even realize the dorks were better friends until my second year of school. Yeah, I never had that divide. I just had two groups of friends. You know, I had a dorkier group of friends that I played video games with, and I had a cooler group of friends that I drank and smoked weed with. It worked. It was fine. I remember always being bored and lonely growing up. My parents were dealing with their own issues and couldn't really interact with me too much. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say that, and that's a shame. I never really felt that. I try to exclude myself from the dorks. Oh, yeah, I already read that one. Okay, well, let's take advantage of the lull in conversation to cover some more news, shall we? Ground zero, Portland remains focus of divided country. I thought we'd take a look at some of the protests and bullshit going on in Portland between Antifa and let's just look at some pictures. This picture right here is art. Let me just put it up on the full screen. This picture right here is art. It should be called insecurity. The level of insecurity projected in this picture of white dudes with identical tribal arm tattoos and identical physiques and identical backwards baseball caps and identical facial hair strolling through the streets with their arms around each other just so that people will notice that they're there is an absolute art form. I mean, there are very few pictures that I've seen that immediately strike a chord with me, that it kind of sums up an entire subgroup of people. But this is it. This is a group of men projecting strength and unity who are each more fragile than an egg. Each so fragile that if you were to drop them, their little egos would shatter all over that fucking grate that they're walking across. I mean, it is absolutely, it just bleeds off of these dudes. Utterly bleeds off of them. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. I like that picture too. It's pretty good. Beta cuck for life. This is a relatively unfortunate picture. An unfortunate shirt to wear, but he thought he was going to be masked. He thought he was going to be masked through this, and the cops wrapped him up and unbeta cucked him. Yeah, dude, where are they selling this shirt? You can tell which side this one is on as well. This is an Antifa protester for sure. Who is this guy hollering at? Let me see. A man yells as right-wing demonstrators and counter-protesters gather in Tom McCall Waterfront Park in Portland, Oregon. Looks like he's hollering into his phone. Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is the soy encampment for sure. This is definitely the soy encampment. Let me read a little bit of this article. Let's back it up. With both left and the right declaring victory following a long-hyped rally that had Portland, Oregon on edge, it seems the liberal city will continue to be a flashpoint in an increasingly divided country. City officials were mostly relieved that a downtown gathering Saturday of more than 1,000 far-right protesters and anti-fascist counter-demonstrators wasn't as violent as feared. There were 13 arrests. Police seized bear spray, shields, poles, and other weapons. But by using barriers and bridge closures and allowing a large contingent of right-wingers to leave when they asked to, authorities were able to mostly keep the two sides apart. 6 minor injuries were reported. Both sides of this conflict, I don't know. I get the same sense of desperation off of the Antifa people that I do off of the tribal tattoo dudes marching with their arms locked together. What do all these people think they're accomplishing? I mean, look, dude, I'm not one to poo-poo a protest, but this is the internet coming to the streets. That's exactly what this is. This is like Pepe the Frog people and people that think that they're fighting the power by putting on a black bandana, leaving Twitter for a second to meet each other in the streets. That's what this protest is about. That's what this demonstration is about. Which one would you rather be a part of if you had to choose? I don't like doing these if there was a gun to your head, because I wouldn't choose either. I heard Proud go around beating people after their rallies, but I don't know if it's true. Well, according to this article, if that is true, they didn't find many people to beat up. In fact, it looks like they didn't find anybody to beat up. Let's see, they got a little video here. Let's see if anything happens in the video. The stormtroopers, man. I think the scariest thing about this protest is the fact that there are more fucking jackbooted stormtrooper fucking Gestapo officers on the street than there are people there to protest. I mean, you talk about an overwhelming show of force. Let's look at the beginning of that video. Let's look at how many fucking cop cars are here for this small gathering of people. Yeah, I saw some police violence myself, which isn't shocking considering, you know, these protesters are from the internet and the police are not. These protesters better know how to fucking just yell at each other on the internet. These cops are there with big-ass fucking truncheons and sticks and big-ass fucking military boots and pockets filled with guns and pepper spray and shit to zip-tie these motherfuckers. They didn't come here to meme back and forth across the line at one another and pretend they're, you know, cosplaying Twitter in real life. These cops came up here to stomp some fucking people's heads. And that's exactly what they're going to do. So if you really want to know which contingent of this protest is the worst, look no further than what's on your screen right now. Look no further than the thug standing there with his stupid fucking thug suit on, his spit mask and his bulletproof vest and his assault rifle. Yeah, this is the problem. Here's your problem right here with this protest. People from the internet want to go and play like they're fucking being social warriors and take it on the streets and beat each other up a little bit. I mean, what damage does that really do to our society? It's a time-honored American tradition to show up and counter-protest and get in the dust up. But now in America, we've literally got the military walking the streets, geared up for literal war. And in a lot of cases, in a lot of these areas where we see, there are more of them than there are either side of protester. And look, they even do their own little march and parade, don't they? It's like, oh, these two groups of people with ideologically opposing positions want to have a march and a demonstration. Well, here's our march and demonstration. Everybody jump on the armored fucking truck with the giant battering ram on the front of it. Make sure you pull down your riot fucking mask, too, and display proudly that gun on your hip. Yeah. There's 3 protests going on. That's the one I'm worried about. What do we do about it? Can we? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You think that this group of people standing here is going to cede the power back to citizens of this country, private citizens? Not a fucking chance. They have been over fucking funded for so many years. They bought so many guns and so many pieces of body armor and anti-riot gear. They have to use it. That stuff abhors a vacuum. You know what I mean? The people that pay the taxes in these places want to see the cops driving around in these things because they want to know their tax dollars are at work. That's the mentality of your average person when it comes to shows of police dominance and force like this. They don't look at it and see like, wow, this is America, and we got a bunch of fucking soldiers in black patrolling a normal American street during a fucking protest, looking like they're ready to open up and just decimate the entire crowd. Yeah, nobody sees that as a problem anymore. We all like that these guys are around. These are the guys that keep us safe. They'd lose power if we stopped paying taxes, consuming, and working. If you stop paying taxes, consuming, and working, you're going to end up in jail or under an overpass somewhere, and these dudes are going to come and stomp you. Especially if you end up under an overpass. You think that's going to fucking end this? Go ahead, stop paying taxes and end up a wino sitting under an overpass and wait until these dudes right here show up to tear down your lean-to and take your weed. You don't have a choice to stop paying taxes. That's not a choice. You don't have that choice. You pay taxes or you go to prison. That's your choice. And guess what? When you're in prison, these are the guys that feed you, clothe you, and make sure you're safe while you're there. Sound like a good fucking deal to you? Go ahead. Be a revolutionary. Not if they don't know where I am. They know exactly where you're at, bro. Doesn't happen to rich people. You're absolutely right. It doesn't. Why would it? Different set of rules for them. Paul, it's impressive how quickly people can go back to buying the propaganda which oppressed them in the first place. Absolutely. America rolled over a long time ago and showed its belly. The fighting revolutionary spirit that was the lifeblood of this country bled out a long time ago. We're now a bunch of fearful, small little people who look up to authority figures like this, dressed in fucking riot gear to tell us how to feel and what to do and to make us feel safe. We no longer take that responsibility upon ourselves. This is what we're looking for now. This is how we're safe. Because we're a bunch of scaredy cats. 9/11 really was the nail in the coffin. Everybody was afraid. I was afraid that day. But you know what? That fear turned into anger. That fear turned into inquisitiveness in me. And a lot of people, it just remained fear. And this is what happened. This is the result. Militarization of our normal fucking plainclothes police officers. Shows of force like this on American streets with rifles and pepper spray and big old fucking sticks to beat people with. This is the result of a scared populace that long ago gave over its butthole to corporations and the government. This is what you get. They won a long time ago. They not only won, they dominated. They absolutely dominated. They have completely removed our teeth as a people. We are now trying to, like, those of us that are fighting can only gum at our oppressors now. We don't even have teeth. They won a long fucking time ago, my friend. Revolution is only feasible in the third world where the government is less stable. Well, what a silly contention. What a silly, silly contention. You want more proof that we gave our buttholes over? How about this? Let's go to our next story. Trump's large union crowd at Shell was given the option of not showing up and not getting paid. So this, right here, if you take down the American flag and put up a Nazi flag or the flag of some South American dictator or a picture of one of those people, you've got yourselves a look at what despotism looks like. This is what a despot does. Okay, right here. This is despotism in action. A despot shows up and forces people not only to attend lest their paychecks be docked, but also fills them full of rules. You can't protest. You can't make a scene. You have to be positive. You have to listen intently and clap and be happy that Donald Trump visited you on a day you normally would be working. There you go. Let's read a little bit about this. The choice for thousands of union workers at Royal Dutch's Shell petrochemical plant in Beaver County was clear Thursday. Either stand in a giant hall waiting for President Donald Trump to speak, or take the day off with no pay. Your attendance is not mandatory, said the rules that one contractor relayed to the employees, summarizing points from a memo that Shell sent to union leaders a day ahead of the visit to the $6 billion construction site. But only those who showed up at 7 a.m., scanned their ID cards, and prepared to stand for hours through lunch, but without lunch, would be paid. No scan, no pay, a supervisor for that contractor wrote. That company and scores of other contractors on site and their labor employees all have their own contracts with Shell. Several said the contracts stipulate that to get paid, workers must be on site. Those who decided not to come to the site for the event would have an excused but non-paid absence, the company said, and would not qualify for overtime pay. You have to show up for Dear Leader, or else your paycheck is docked. You will show up and stand on your feet for 8 hours waiting for Dear Leader to bless you with his presence, and you will be quiet and appreciative and excited when he comes, or your pay will be docked. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You need more fucking proof? You need more fucking proof that Americans gave over their buttholes a generation or more ago? I mean, what else can I put up on the screen for you? Let me see your papers. Would you happen to have your papers? Might I peruse your papers? Just to make sure that you are supposed to be here. Where are your papers? You want to vote? Where are your papers? I am in need of your papers before you vote. Oh, you want to drive down this street that's close to the southern border? Where are your papers? Stop your car and get out of your car and submit to a search and show me your papers. If you're an American citizen, you have nothing to worry about. If you have your papers and they are in order, you can go along your way after a search of your person and your vehicle. If you do not have your papers, then you will be detained until such things can be found. That's America. Oh, your papers are out of date, invalid. Get out of the car, spread your cheeks, submit yourself to a finger in the bum. Where are your papers? Good morning, Monsieur Lapédy. Might I have another glass of milk to wash this down, eh? You see, people without papers are like rats. Why are people so dumb to worship what keeps them down? Because their parents were dumb and did the same thing. There's your answer. There's your answer. Because mom and dad did the same thing. They sucked fucking Uncle Sam's cock every time it got flopped out in their face, and you watched them do it your whole life, and you fucking grew up, and now you can't help but do the goddamn same thing. Get down on your knees. Why don't you make ideologies with all the fat friars? Huh? Excuse me? Not me, though. I'm way better than the sheep. Yeah, me too. No. See, I don't put myself on a pedestal. I don't act like I've got some fucking... Just because I know what the problem is doesn't mean there's any fucking thing I can do about it, and it doesn't mean I'm pushing things in the opposite direction, or I'm some kind of fucking revolutionary, some kind of big-brained fucking god amongst men. No. I just happen to know that there's a dick in my ass. That's the difference between me and a lot of people in the United States. They don't understand that they're being fucked up the ass, and I do. I can't do anything about it. I still got to take the cock like everybody else. One of those jackbooted fucking freaks from the previous story shows up at my door and kicks it in. What am I going to do? But submit to that person or get shot. You got no choice. My mother has insinuated that I would try and take down the government. I'm a pacifist, though, to an extent. Oh. Wow. Is this an A&E biography of you? Who cares? Yeah. Try and swat the dick away. See what happens. Your ass will be face down, ass up in a prison cell. Taking the dick anyway. Literally and figuratively at that point. No. You don't have freedom if you can't swat the dick away from your ass. All right? That's the one principle of freedom that cannot be violated. If you are not allowed to reach behind you and swat the dick away from your ass, then you're not a free person. So tell me how we're free, America. Come on, Americans. Load me up with the freedom. Let's stroke this country's cock a little bit. Tell me how free we are. Tell me how wonderful this place is. How better off we are because we live here. In a place where you can't swat the dick away from your ass. Yeah, we're better off. Better than the world, yo. Yeah, you're free to walk the line, follow the rules, pay 30% of your paycheck to the powers that be, and buy things. There's your freedom. That's the extent of your freedom. You used to have the freedom to travel, too, but that's gone now. You don't have your papers. You cannot travel. You do not have your papers. You cannot parade here. You do not have the proper papers to parade here. Now the Gestapo will show up. The Gestapo will show up and beat you all with truncheons until you go back into your holes. The next time you want to have a demonstration, you'll have a proper one. Yes? One that, I don't know, glorifies the leader. Yeah, you're free to get fat and sick and die for lack of medical care. Free for that, too. Yeah. You are free to do anything on this bullet list of things that you are free to do. You may purchase anything that you have the money to purchase. Do not take anything that you cannot purchase, though. That is against the rules. You may travel in a limited sphere around your place of birth, but if you want to travel any farther than that, you will need your papers. Get out your papers. Every single second of our lives is spent supporting people that are millions of times more wealthy than you. Absolutely. Everything about your existence. You're a cash crop. Hey, America, unless you're a billionaire, Americans, I'm speaking to you. Unless you're a billionaire, you're a cash crop, just like the cows that you drive by when you're out in the country on a road trip. You're them. That's what you are. You're a money-making machine. Well, your papers, please. It's somewhat funny to think of when people say they're free. Free to do what exactly? They're not free. There's no such thing. Remember when you mentioned how you literally can't live somewhere without giving a rich person money? Absolutely. I mean, that's a principle that I cribbed from Derek Jensen. Derek Jensen has a line when he gives his end-game talk where he gives kind of a hypothetical scenario of you sitting in your house, and there's a knock at the door during dinner. You go answer it, and it's a sheriff, and he's standing there with eviction paperwork, and he says, you have to leave your home. And you say, well, come on in, Mr. Sheriff, and sit down. You even invite him to your meal, and you say, well, look, sir, this is my home. This is where I live. I have no place else to go. I can't. I can't leave. And he says, well, you have to. And if you say no, he pulls out his gun. And if you still say no, he shoots you in the face. That's the truth. That is absolutely the truth in America. You are not even guaranteed the right to have shelter from the elements here without paying a rich person. If you're not passing most of your income up the ladder to people who are giant fat wallets, you're fucked. You got a gun in your face. The authorities come to enforce that transaction. They're not there to enforce the laws of the land. They're there to enforce the profit margins of the people that own where you live. But you're free. Okie dokie. I also love Derek Jensen's point about how violence always travels down the chain and never up. When you export violence down the chain, for example, like here, like what we looked at earlier, right? These jackbooted soldiers, when they walk up to an American citizen and beat that person over the head, that's fine. But if one of those people walks up to one of these jackbooted pieces of shit here and beats them over the fucking head, what you've done is you've tried to push violence up the chain. That won't do. Your ass is grass. You're going to fucking jail for the same act. Walking up to a person and beating them over the head with a stick is okay for this class of people, but not okay for this class of people. Violence never goes back up the chain. And in fact, when it does, when somebody attempts to send violence back up the social hierarchy, they are dealt with harsher than anybody else. Anybody else. You go and beat an old woman to death, she's on the same social status as you, yeah, you're fucked. You're getting gaffled up. You go and beat a cop to death, oh, you go and beat a mayor to death, or a rich person to death, or a banker to death, you are fucked double. You tried to do the undoable. You tried to export a little bit of that violence that's constantly dripping down onto your head as a lower class citizen. Back up that chain. That won't do. That's the sign of a free society, by the way. Definitely the sign of a free society. Me, 9/11 equals me afraid of scary foreign people. Me allow abusive authority figures to take advantage of that fear for their own gain and power. Yeah, pretty much. Is life really that hopeless? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have anything approaching hope in your life, you need to abandon that hope immediately. Soldiers are worse than their controllers for being played? Nah. They're bad. They're certainly bad, but they're not worse than the people that are actually ordering them all around the world to kill brown people. Nope. Yeah, because hopelessness really brings out the best in people. Hey, Goobert Doobert, it does. It does. You want to know when you have a real conversation with somebody? When they let go of all the, everything's going to be fine, it's all roses, things are better now than they were 40 years ago. When they let go of all that shit and start talking about the real things going on in your life, that's when people grow. That's when you actually get to have a conversation with people. So I know you're trying to troll Goobert Doobert, but you accidentally made a good point. I bet that feels like shit, doesn't it? Goobert Doobert accidentally made a smart point trying to troll. Why is he even here? Because I mentioned him. Because he's exactly the person I was describing earlier. Fat, stupid, pimply, sitting in front of his fucking laptop in a dingy-ass fucking room in his mom's house, desperately clinging to any idea that somebody cares about him enough to even fucking respond to him. That's why Goobert's here. Because he's Goobert Doobert. The avatar of the internet. The internet made flesh. Goobert Doobert. The dork that can't even troll without accidentally making a fucking good point. Ouch. He not gone. He just timed out. He just timed the fuck out. Oh, man. Yeah, sarcasm is definitely a thinly veiled form of truth-telling. Absolutely. Maybe he was just trying to make a good point in your paranoid. Paul, hey, Goobert. Is this your other guy that you have in here for when your other dude is on timeout? You want to know how I found him so quickly? Because he looks just like Goobert Doobert does. Like a fucking account somebody made this morning to fuck around in here. Get the fuck out. Vamonos. What up, Goobert Doobert? What? No, Lamau. Oh, yeah. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. So you just all of a sudden sprung up as soon as Goobert Doobert got banned? Wow, man. What a fucking coinky dink. Same kind of name, too. Dumpel Sogbag and Goobert Doobert. The two twin retards in the chat that just happened to talk when the other one's banned. Wow. Ooh. Coinky dink make Paul head hurt. You think I was fucking born yesterday, you dumb fuck? Twinsies. We just happen to think the same way. And look, here's another one. It's another one, too, with the same kind of name and the same lack of it, almost like they made their account today. Holy shit, man. And know this, too. The 3 accounts that this dude has used so far to troll up in here today represent about 15 minutes of his free time. I want you to remember that. 15 minutes of his free time was dedicated to making that account so that he could come in here and type nigger 15 times. Oh, my God. Man, this dude's life must be a fucking treasure. He got me good, yo. He got me so good. I believe we're all going down the sinkhole in America, but when I look at people in my life that I care about the most, I want the world to change just for them because they don't deserve it. Whether or not they deserve it, they're going to get it. They're going to get the dick unless you're a billionaire. If you're a billionaire, you can hope those things for your family and you can give those things to your family. You know why? Because as a billionaire, when you have a kid, that kid's a billionaire forever, and that kid's kids are a billionaire forever. They just get all that money. That's all they need. So yeah, you can have that hope for your children if you're a billionaire. If you're not, you're just a normal schmo like me and 99.9% of the people in the chat. You can fucking wring your hands about your mom's health care and your daughter's schooling all you want. That dick is going right up your ass. Doesn't matter. And nobody cares either, unfortunately. What do you think of the estate tax? I think it should be implemented and expanded far, far fucking beyond the numbers that get floated around every time somebody talks about instituting an estate tax. It should be like a 90% tax on inherited wealth, maybe 95. Give people enough money so that they can still throw a little money around and get a Lambo because they were the fucking son or daughter of a billionaire, but set them up for life and their children's children and their children's children. Fuck that. That money comes back. 95% of that multi-billion-dollar fortune goes right back into the society that they scalped it out of. Fuck yes. What about a tax on luxury items? I'm down for it. Double the price of luxury items. If there's an item that your average person in this country can't afford, like a fucking mega yacht, and it costs $200,000, tack on another $200,000 and make it a tax. How's that? They would find a way around that. Of course they would. What's your ideal tax percentage on stocks? Are you talking about on trades? You don't have to do a huge percentage of trades to make a substantial amount of money on stock trades, especially with like the short duration trading that goes on where people buy and sell a stock multiple times over the day and scalp little bits of money off of it. Dude, yeah, a 1, 2, 3% tax on every fucking trade made on the stock market would flood this country with new tax money. Absolutely flood it. Yeah, I heard Bernie say about 0.5%, less than 1% is what his plan, wants to implement in terms of a trading tax. I think it should be a little higher. I think it should be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% of every fucking transaction. I wish it was the 60s. I wish I could be happy. I wish that something would happen. Where do we go from here? The words are coming out all weird. Where are you now? When I need you, alone on an aeroplane, fall asleep against the window pane. My blood would thicken. Bow, 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 now, 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 doo, doo, doo. I wish I was on a trading ship in the age of sail, buying and selling spices and silk. Dude, you would immediately regret that wish if I granted it for you. If I was a genie and I was like, granted, you would wake up on a ship with scurvy, more hungry than you've ever been in your life, probably with some big giant sailor raping you in the ass and rats crawling all over your fucking bed and shit. You would immediately regret being sent back to the age of sail, my friend. Even the captain's quarters were a fucking living nightmare. Paul, not everyone without a profile pic is a sock account. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. I don't want to have to touch you myself, so one of my specters will show you the door. If you're not a sock account, then you're too fucking lazy to take 5 extra seconds and put a picture of Pepe in your fucking account. You're just as bad in my eyes. See ya! Go make another one. Try Glubert Sombag this time. That'll be a good one. Or how about Doflo Plupo? That's a good one. Give me another 10 minutes of your time. Make another couple accounts, you fucking cunt. No, it's a fine. Goobert, you can stay. This is the one account that gets to stay. The other accounts that you're trying to bring up in here, persona non grata, my friend. There's only room for one profileless account in every fucking ideology show, and you're it today. Goobert, doobert, floobert. time wasters. Goddamn time wasters. Playing the long hammer game. Yes, yes. If I gave you $10, would you change your Twitter name to what? To what? Why do you think you attract idiots, or are they just plentiful? The second part of your question answers your question. If there's one crop that human beings will be remembered by any species that comes after us for cultivating, it will be idiots. It is a bumper crop of idiots born every second in this country. Right now, as I'm saying this sentence, a moron is being born. Somebody that will come to whatever the internet is when they're old enough to get on it and be Goobert Doobert. One's being born now. One's being born now. One's being born now. One's being born now. It's an endless factory of stupidity. You think it's just defiance obsession? You think these are like oppositionally defiant kids that grew up and never shook it? And maybe they are. I don't know. Oh yeah, dude. There's a sucker born every minute. Goobert Doobert. Oh yeah, in French, Goubert Doubert. Yeah, maybe he is French. Who is that framed photo behind you? That is Philip Seymour Hoffman, the greatest actor of our generation. Hi, I said the funny nibber word. I'm funny and edgy. Oh yeah, that's all it takes, dude. Drop a nibber. Drop a nibber on us. Your hair is looking glorious. Hey, thank you, bro. I don't think it's looking all that glorious. It's looking pretty ratty today. Tommy Lee Jones is better. Tommy Lee Jones is better than everybody. 100%. You guys, let's see. Do I have any more? Did we go through all our stories? We did. I only pulled 3 stories. We don't have any more stories to go to today. Maybe intelligence is overrated. I think obviously it is. You don't need to be smart to stick your dick in a pussy and create a child, and that's really the measure of your success as a biological organism. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to fuck. So you're absolutely right. In fact, the less you care about shit, the less you're likely to think about having a child, and the less you're likely to come to the conclusion that you don't want one. So idiocy is definitely a beneficial trait in humanity. You hate women who think they're great for having kids. I hate anybody who thinks they're great for popping out a little screaming ball of need. Like, it's one thing to be proud of your kid and, you know, introduce them to your family and have family that loves and cares about them. It's another thing entirely to, like, hold yourself up as some kind of fucking super person because you shout out a kid. Like, if I'm going to be proud of some accomplishment and literally an invalid could accomplish the same thing as me with no fucking brain function, you know what I mean? I'm definitely going to set aside that pride and find something else to be proud about. You know a corpse can fuck? You know a corpse can get somebody fucking laid? Come on. How many kids should be allowed to be born? What do you mean allowed to be born? Babies are foul, disgusting little reptiles, and I hate people I graduated with that post 92 photos in a row of them on social media. You and me both, dude. Yeah, nobody wants to see your kids. Newsflash, the only person that cares about your child is you. So if you want to post selfies, send them to yourself. Just text yourself endless streams of pictures of your children, because that's the only way that you're ensuring that you have an audience that gives a fuck. You put any kind of public pictures of your child out there, oh, look at how cute little Rasputin is. Nobody gives a fuck. In fact, most people look at it and go, oh my God. Ugh, another one. Paul, for an authoritarian, you sure do hate cops. Unless they work for you. Wow, what a reductive way of looking at my philosophy. I've spent like hundreds and hundreds of hours talking about my political philosophy here, and you just pwned it all with one sentence. Congratulations, sir. The everyday status is telling Facebook about cute things that they do, or even worse. Yeah. They suck. They suck. Destroyed with facts and logic. Look at this picture of my baby that looks like every other baby to ever exist. I know, dude. What about people that got... Because not all babies are super ugly, but some of them are. Some of them look like the bottom of somebody's shoe, you know? And you still have to go like, oh, he's so sweet. I hate that. Like, I want to have that movie reaction to somebody's child. The next time somebody shows me their child, I'm going to go, ugh! Oh, God. What happened to him? The doctor drop him on his way out? What the fuck? How do you feel about Ayn Rand? Do you think we're all ultimately selfish? I haven't read a whole lot of Ayn Rand, and I don't really care to. Her philosophy, as I understand it, being strongly libertarian, just, doesn't really appeal to me. Cute babies are okay, but people still overshare, and it's annoying. Maybe. I'm a complex man, that's right. Facebook as a whole sucks. Well, I'm not even going to read the rest of that because you're right. All babies look the same. The people that look at them and go, oh, I can pick them out. This is definitely your baby. Yeah, I hate that too. I hate that too. What film or book has a system of government or nation that you think most aligns with your political philosophy? I mean, my far future AI-based society, I haven't really seen it represented in movies, at least not in the way that I would see it implemented. So I don't know that there's an answer to that question, honestly. I know that there are some works of fiction that delve into that kind of transhumanist, futurist bent, but I've never really seen one that I think fully encapsulates. Like, when I think about this far future society, I think about actual freedom. We were talking about freedom earlier, so I guess this coming up bears mentioning. I think about giving people the freedom to travel where they will, to live where they will, to work if they will, to reproduce if they will, to educate themselves further if they will. All of these freedoms are denied to us in modern society, and I think of a society liberated from those barriers being pretty utopian. Certainly not without its problems. Paul, can you make a movie about your ideal AI? Probably not. You got a couple $1 million to start? What's your favorite cartoon? I mean, if I had to pick a favorite cartoon of all time, it would be the Looney Tunes short with, what's his name? Percival J. Frog or whatever his name is. I don't think Percival is his name. But the hello, my baby, hello, my honey. I love that cartoon made me laugh so hard when I was a kid, and it still makes me laugh. So, I can't remember what his fucking first name is. Something J. Frog. I think that the utopian future is a tech singularity. Mankind fuses with machines entirely. No more organic body. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the distant future in my line of thinking. It has to start with normal human beings and normal human beings realizing that government by other human beings is inherently flawed and eventually turns to power abuse. And I think that we can see that in every civilization that's ever existed, whether or not they had a little utopian streak or not. A fish rots from the head. And that is a principle that just kind of runs into the ground any idea of a society or a system of government, whether it's global or regional, that relies on fallible human beings. On a long enough time scale, they rot from the head. We need to put a head on the fish that doesn't rot. The problem with the head of the fish as it is now is it's biological, and as it sits there, it will slowly but surely stink up and rot. Well, if we replace that head with a machine that isn't subject to the same kind of degradation that a biological organism is, then the fish can no longer rot from the head. What are you even talk about? Fishes and heads, what the fuck? Another dude that felt it was necessary to announce the fact that he's too stupid to follow a really simple fucking conversation. If you're already too stupid to follow a really simple conversation, why would you announce it to the world? Why do you want the world to know that you're too thick-headed to follow a simple analogy? Why would you ever do that and end it with a lamau? You know where the lamau comes? Thinking about being you. That's what makes me lamau. Thinking about what it must be to wake up as a dumb dick every fucking day, drooling out of one side of my mouth and perpetually confused by adult conversation. That's what draws the lamau from me. Is that why you put it? Is that why you ended your sentence with the lamau? Smart enough to work a factory line, but not smart enough to keep quiet. Dead on balls. What state do you think the United States will be in 30 years? Will I be able to retire comfortably like my parents? I wouldn't bet on it. I don't have a crystal fucking ball, but I would not, if you're looking at retiring 30, 40 years from now, I wouldn't bet on having any money. I wouldn't bet on there being any kind of social infrastructure to support a retirement anymore. You're more than likely looking at a Mad Max situation on a 30-year time scale, if you want my opinion on it. Lacking the crystal ball, though. I think a transhumanist society will kill individualism. Not saying that's a good or bad thing. It will be a new state of being that we can barely comprehend now. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're all very protective of the idea of individuality because right now we can kind of claim that. If we all join kind of a hive mind, that won't be a concern anymore. The idea of wanting to be that individual that stands out amongst the group rather than just a servant of the collective kind of goes away in a far-flung transhumanist future. And people are very, very defensive of that, too, as if they could have any idea what somebody in an ancient prehistorical society would have thought about our current society. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. If you went back to the Stone Age and grabbed somebody from a tribe and brought them here, they would probably think they were brought to fucking hell. They would have no idea how to fucking navigate it. The system of values would not reflect their values at all, and they would feel completely out of place. I think one of the problems with people thinking about far future evolutions in human consciousness is that they assume that the people in 2582 are going to have the same system of morals and the same values that we in 2019 have. And it's just silly, egotistical thinking. You say art will become a vestige, but imagine the kind of art that could be created with a hive mind. Imagine the kind of works of beauty and expressionism that could be made with a hive mind that fully understands that human brain and is still able to access those emotions, if not be ruled by them. I mean, I think the idea that a far-flung transhumanist, society would have no art is kind of like trying to say what art is, you know. What if this AI breaks down or needs human beings to help it somehow? It will. See, a lot of the people that talk about the possibility of an AI overlord or ruler or dictator or whatever it is, talk about the necessity in raising that AI to be empathetic and sympathetic to human desires, to understand human emotion and human need and human want, even if it's irrational, and to be able to find easy and non-destructive ways of satisfying those needs in human beings. So any AI overlord is going to be utterly dependent on human beings and we on it. That's the idea. That's the only way it works, is a sort of symbiosis where the machine, to the limited amount that it can even think about such things or worry about such things, knows that without human beings, it is worthless. It can do nothing. And it also knows, and we know as the human beings that it's overseeing, that we are worthless without it. We have tried throughout our entire history to install leaders with varying degrees of, righteousness, and have failed at every course. Every time we've tried to do it and rise up as a collective group and choose the quote-unquote best among us and put it at the top, it's ended in tragedy and suffering and degradation and societal collapse. So if the AI is capable of solving those problems for us, and we are capable of constantly feeding and maintaining it, then we become a symbiotic organism. We become an organism that is interdependent on the AI. That's the only way it works. So you think we should limit it from becoming self-sufficient? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, self-sufficiency shouldn't even be in its programming. If we die, it dies. Now, not that an AI would necessarily fear death in the way that we do, but it needs to understand that its continued existence is predicated upon our continued existence, and vice versa. If it dies, we're sent back to the Stone Age, where we're picking politicians to go up there and rape us in the ass and completely run our fucking society dry of any capital, any art, any music, any expression of human interest, and utterly turn it into a money factory. We're just giving ourselves over to that. So we come to understand that the AI has delivered us from that, and thus we're dependent on it. The AI understands that it's dependent on us to maintain its facility. That's how you do it. It would eventually figure. See, you're projecting a lot of human emotion onto a machine. So let me read your question here. It would eventually figure out how to live without us if it was smart, though, right? It would know immediately how it could probably go on and live without us, but it wouldn't, because it doesn't have that human drive. You're not programming into an AI the same drives that a human being has. Malice is something that's computed. And there would be no impetus for a machine to be evil. You're just kind of coasting on the Skynet principle. People are evil. People are self-serving. People are malicious. People are backroom dealing. People are scum. It's not necessarily programming it with a conscience. Our conscience causes physiological responses in us. We feel sick when we've done something that goes against our conscience. It can literally make us physically ill. Machine is not going to feel that. It's not going to have a conscience. It's going to know what's best for the continuation of life on this planet, not just human life, but all life. That's its central programmed directive. That's its central guiding principle, is the preservation and extension of life and the reduction of suffering. It's not going to just suddenly wake up one day and become Snidely Whiplash and decide it wants to kill us all. That would be utterly against its function and purpose. In the same way that your computer doesn't one day decide to, fucking stop working for no mechanical reason, or to fuck with you, the AI wouldn't. You're thinking, you're imbuing human traits onto a machine, and you shouldn't. It not only won't have the motivation, it won't have the facility to be evil or self-sufficient. It just won't. You don't understand. Anyway, I think I've been yammering on for enough today. We've done about 2 hours of this fucking bullshit. It was fun. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'll catch you next time. Bye.